Hi, my name's Etta Sherman, and I unfortunately can't use VidGrid because it software doesn't work on my computer. It won't download. But I figured I could use this time to kind of discuss my reflections and final thoughts on the class, what I took away. So, the discussion that I was probably most excited to talk about was sensibility. I have an American Lit concentration, and I'm not sure if that really affects it too much, but I haven't been able to talk about sensibility in any of the classes that I've explored. And sensibility, talking about it, I thought it was really interesting that um, it really promoted women writers because sensibility kind of was seen as like weak protagonist, and so women were able to kind of flourish with it because it was a more emotional form of writing, a more feminine form of writing, and I thought that was really cool. Um, Talking about sensibility made me decide to explore some other text outside of what I normally read, so I read Sense and Sensibility finally. Uh, as an English major, I'm graduating this semester. You'd figure I'd read something by Jane Austen at this point. Glad I did. And then in my other classes, we read Miss Dalloway, and I was able to apply so much of what we talked about with sensibility to that novel. Sublime was also really interesting because I am an art student as well as I guess literature is art, but I'm an art student as well as an English major, getting a minor in studio art. And we talk about the sublime a lot in pieces, landscape paintings especially. I think of Thomas Cole's painting and paintings of Prometheus Bound. That's a American example, but his are so interesting because they're landscapes similar to what Shelley describes in her own writing to illustrate the isolation in Gothic romanticism and just the awe of the Arctic that Victor finds himself in. So I highly recommend looking at Thomas Cole's paintings if you really want to look at like an illustration of the sublime. Honestly, you could take those paintings and put them right next to Frankenstein as almost a piece of like an illustration for the book. Um, Favorite concepts I've talked about sensibility. I thought our conversation on education was particularly exciting because we got to apply that with feminism as well, where Mary Wollstonecraft believed that women should be able to function through themselves in a society, make money based off what they do. She believed in education for women, which was likely because it was so hard for her to be educated as a woman. And I mean, if you want to compare that with another painter, we could talk about Mary Cassatt, who was moved to Paris and had to teach herself by going to museums and painting and copying off of them. So I thought education was really interesting because Frankenstein does it in a framework that's not necessarily feminine, where Victor does not have the emotional education for a lot of the concepts. He doesn't have that. He has so much education in science, but no education in how one should act, morals. So that was really interesting. I liked all of the discussion posts we talked about on that. If I was going to continue to have an influence from this class, which I will, I've already seen it in so many of my other classes applying the concepts that we've learned. I'd probably be applying it to art. I see so much of Frankenstein in so many paintings, especially Lightning, which could be a direct influence of Wales films. I'd be more interested in looking at adaptations of Frankenstein because the movies that we watched for this class, and even the extra credit one, it's they aren't exact adaptations of Frankenstein. They all have to blur the line, which is because it's probably such an introspective work. But yes, I'd be interested in viewing those and reviewing them in my own mind. I have a letterbox, so maybe I'll review them on there. Sorry I was not able to provide any images of to go along with this, but yeah, I'm interested in what everybody else has pulled for this class. Bye.